Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Huck. Today I thought I would do a weekend reads because I haven't done one of these in a while and I'm reading a couple of books right now, so I thought I'd just tell you about what are the books that I'm reading this weekend. So usually I have kind of like one main book that I'm reading at a time, and then I'll have some like side books that are either poetry or nonfiction that I'm just like reading more slowly when I want to take a break. So my main book this weekend is The Highland Witch by Susan Fletcher. This is one that I actually got pretty recently and I haven't hauled yet. So this is a historical fiction that takes place in 1692 Scotland. Our main character that we're following in this is Corag, who has been accused of being a witch. She is also the sole survivor of a massacre that recently happened. So at this point, she is now being held in prison, and they are presumably going to kill her, but right now she is just kind of like waiting. And while she is waiting, a reverend shows up because he has traveled to this town where this massacre occurred because he believes that finding out more about what happened during this massacre and who was involved will help him to like prove a political point. And so he travels there to find out more about it. He discovers that Corag is the only survivor, the only person who saw what happened, and so he decides to interview her, and she agrees to be interviewed and to tell him about what happened at this massacre, but in exchange he has to listen to her whole life story because when she dies, nobody will remember her. She has no other family, and so she wants somebody to know her life story and to remember her when she dies. So that's what this book is that it is her telling him her whole life story, which will eventually culminate in this massacre. And it's told through her like telling the story, and then also through letters that the Reverend is writing back to his wife. And so far, I'm not super far into it. I think I'm maybe like 20% of the way into it. And I'm not sure how I feel about the, not the writing style exactly, but the way the story is being told, how she is really just like telling this story and it being told through letters. I don't hate it, but it's kind of grating on my nerves. So I'm not sure about that. Also, I just know that like this is not going to be a happy story because it's pretty much going to be her entire life of being persecuted as a witch and being like run out of different towns is what it seems like it's going to be. And then it's going to culminate in a massacre. So like this is not going to be a happy read, but you know, I thought it sounded interesting. So, and I've been wanting to read more historical fiction, so I thought I would give this one a try. So this is my main book for this weekend, and I'm hoping to make some good progress in it. It's not super long or anything. It's not even 400 pages, so hopefully I'll be able to make some progress. Then I'm reading two other books. One of them is an anthology, which is Once Upon an Enchanted Forest. This is another one that I got recently and haven't hauled yet, so getting a sneak peek at my next book haul, this one will be in there too. So this is an anthology of 10 short stories by different authors that are all around witchcraft and like forest settings. So it just sounded like a great anthology and like something I would enjoy. Also, I appreciated that it's only 10 short stories, and so they get to be a little bit longer short stories, because sometimes I've read short story anthologies where it's like 30 short stories, but each one is like 3 pages, and I don't like those. So these ones are a little bit more substantial, but also the way I found out about this book and one of the reasons I decided to get it is also because Juliet Marillier has a short story in this. So I haven't gotten to hers yet, but I'm really interested in it. I've read the first 2 short stories in this so far, and the first one I really liked. The second one was kind of boring. So you know, it's been 50-50 so far. We'll see how it goes for the rest of the anthology, but I would like to read at least one more, if not 2 more of the short stories in this weekend. And then the last book that I'm reading is a nonfiction, which is 7 Practices of a Mindful Leader by Mark Lesser. And this is one that I have been reading for a long time. I started it, read like 30% of it, and then put it down for a while. And it's interesting, but it hasn't like really grabbed me. I started reading this as part of my research for a project that I am doing in one of my classes, which is about using mindfulness practices in leadership coaching and development. So this one has been part of that research, which I think is also part of why I just like haven't really been motivated to read it, because instead of just feeling like, oh, the regular nonfiction that I like to read, it feels like it's doing homework. So I need to finish this soon though, because that project, my first draft is already turned in, and we should be getting the grades on the first draft back soon, but the final draft is due at the beginning of December, so I need to finish this in November, just in case there are any other like nuggets of information from this that I want to include in my final draft. So I think, you know, if I actually tried, I could finish this weekend. I'm actually listening to the audiobook, and it says I only have like 3 hours left on the audiobook, and then I'm also listening to it at like 1.75 speed or something, so it's going to be even faster than that. I just keep not picking it up, but I really would like to finish this weekend, and really, if I dedicated like 2 hours to listening to the audiobook while I like, I don't know, clean or something, I could definitely get that done. So those are all of the books that I am reading this weekend. Other than that, I mostly have like homework that I have to do. As I said, I'm supposed to be getting the feedback from my first draft on my paper very soon, and I'm gonna find out how much I have to do on that and how many updates or further research I have to do on it. And I really don't know what that is going to be like, because we had very little instruction as to what this paper was supposed to be like. We just found out what like part of the rubric for grading was. One of our teachers' standards was that we had to have at least 3 sources or 3 references for our paper, which is not that many. And I was like, I had 2 pages of references for this paper. I had like 25 references for this paper. I feel like I went a little overboard. I went too hard with my research for this paper. So I definitely met that criteria. But yeah, but before we submitted it, we had barely any information about what this project was supposed to be, so it just felt like a shot in the dark. So we're gonna find out how I did with trying to read my professor's mind and guess what he wanted. But yeah, so I'm gonna be getting that feedback soon, and then I will be able to see what my homework for this weekend looks like. And then also this weekend I'm hanging out with a friend of mine, and we're going to like co-work. So I'm just gonna go over to her place, and we're gonna hang out and try and get some work done, and I'm hoping to get some of my homework done then, and either work on that paper or do some of the other kinds of homework that I have to do. So that's my exciting weekend. Is I have a couple of books that I'm going to be trying to read, and then I'm going to be doing a lot of homework. So that is all for my weekend reads and my weekend plans. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, bye.